so this is from 3.14, 3.15, number 2. So here's what you are told. The equation C of x is equal to 140x plus 3,600. This represents the cost of producing X bundles of pavers. So C of X is the cost of producing X bundles, whatever a bundle is, bundles of pavers. The equation Rx equals 260x represents the revenue. Rx is the revenue. Oh, this is the cost. I forgot to put here that it was the revenue and the cost are in dollars, right? The revenue in dollars from selling X units, X bundles, from selling X units. The units here are the bundles of pavers, okay? What is the total cost to the company when you break even? Revenue and cost are equal, you're breaking even. Typically in a business, right, you start at a loss. When you're going to start a business, you're going to start on the red, negative numbers. Why? Because you have to buy equipment, you have to hire people, you have to rent the space, you have to buy supplies. Everything was money out of your pocket. A company that makes markers, and I can sell this for $1. But the very first marker that I produced cost me, I don't know, $5,000 to make. Because I had to pay rental, I had to buy the equipment, I had to buy supplies, and I had to do all kinds of stuff to be able to produce that very first marker. So my cost for this one marker was $5,000, and I sell it for $1. Am I making money? Not yet. I'm a long way from making money. But the idea of business, right, is that I will sell enough of these that eventually, even though I'm selling them for $1, once I can sell, you know, 100,000 of these guys, I'm going to be making some money. So there's cost. By the time I get to 100,000 markers, maybe it's costing me 5 cents to make one. The break-even point, what every business hopes to reach as quickly as possible, is that point where you at least are not losing money. The break-even point happens when revenue equals cost.
Or would it be exceeds cost?
That wouldn't be that. Then you have a profit. When your revenue is more than your cost, you're not breaking even. Now you're in the positive, and that's eventually when you want to be. You are correct. But let's just see how many. The question that we're asking in this context, right? How many bundles of pavers have to be sold for this company to break even? If this is what it costs them to make. This kind of models that are simplified, right, usually have two parts. We have what's called the fixed cost, and we have variable costs. Fixed costs are things that don't change no matter what happens. This is probably, you know, like salaries and the rent that you pay for the place where you make your product. And then you have costs that change depending on how many units you make. This probably takes into account the materials, what you have to buy to make these pavers, and the electricity that you use, all of the stuff that is associated with making the units. You don't have to know that to answer this question. To answer this question, you just have to understand break-even means revenue is equal to cost. So we set the equations equal to each other. So since revenue is equal to 260x, can someone tell me what the 260 represent in this context? What is a 260 by itself?
Price of each unit.
Very nice, exactly right. These guys are selling one bundle of pavers for 260 bucks. How much does it cost to make one bundle. The bundle costs about $140 to make, plus the fixed cost. You know? So we're going to set the revenue equal to the cost. You know, this is one of those problems where I think I have talked so much about it that I probably have scared you into thinking there's a lot of information I need to know for this particular problem. And there isn't. I just want you to understand the concept of break-even, but in a nutshell, all you need to do on the exam is understand what break-even point means. Revenue equals cost. Write the equation. Set the expressions for revenue and cost equal to each other, and solve. That's it. Let's get all the x's on one side. So I don't want the 140x right here. Since it's a positive 140x, I will add the opposite, 140x. I'm going to subtract 140x from both sides of the equation. That will give me 260 minus 140. 120x is equal to, here the x's cancel out. That's why we did that. And we're left with 3,600. And now we divide both sides of the equation by and x is equal to 30. Now this is very important. Do not make the mistake of doing everything right and then not answering the question, right? You may be very happy saying, oh, the break-even point happens at 30, box in or enter that in the answer, and you realize that's not what they're asking you. Let me read the question to you. What is the total cost to the company when you break even? The total cost. So where am I going to plug in this 30?
$30.
Where, no, that's not the cost. This is not $30. This is 30 bundles. Where do I plug this in if I want to find the cost? I want to plug it into the cost. So the cost now, which is what they're asking me to figure out, is the cost of 30 is going to be 140 times 30 plus 3,600. And I just punch this in my calculator, and then you will have your total cost. Now this is in dollars, $7,800.